Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This moment right here, it's the pivot point. Right now your mind is loaded with ideas, loaded with what-ifs, but most people stay stuck in what-if land forever. Today I'm gonna show you the one law that turns all that thinking stuff into cold, hard cash. Because if you're only thinking, you're only dreaming, but if you apply the law, you're earning. Let's break that chain mindset precedes money, because money is never the beginning, it's the byproduct. It's the echo of how you think, how you move, how you decide, how you carry yourself when nobody's watching. Most people chase money like it's running away from them. They sprint, they panic, they beg the world to reward effort they never aligned with their mindset. And then they wonder why they stay stuck. They think the skill comes first, the strategy comes first, the opportunity comes first. But every single one of those things collapse if the mindset behind them is weak, reactive, or scattered. The truth is simple. Your mindset builds the container, money just fills it. If your container is tiny, unstable, or cracked, even the biggest opportunities leak right through your fingers. The moment your mindset expands, your world expands with it. That expansion isn't magic, it's mechanics. When you step into a stronger mindset, you stop waiting for permission. You stop asking the world to choose you, and you choose yourself. You move differently. You speak differently. You hold yourself to standards that don't bend for convenience. Suddenly the same road you've been walking feels different, not because the road changed, but because you finally became the person who's meant to walk it. Money flows to people who operate with vision, structure, and intention, and those three things live in your mindset long before they ever show up in your bank account. If you think small, you act small. If you act small, you earn small. You can't outperform your own belief system. You can't build a life of abundance while thinking like someone fighting to survive. You can't expect high value results from low-value habits. Mindset is the operating system. Money is just the app running on top of it. The moment you understand this, you stop obsessing over shortcuts. You stop asking for someone to hand you a formula. You start realizing you are the formula. Your discipline is the formula, your standards are the formula, your persistence is the formula. People lose years searching for secrets that are hiding behind the mind, that they refuse to develop. You want to win. Build the mindset that refuses to quit, refuses to settle, refuses to entertain anything smaller than the future you're aiming for. Most people fail because they think money will solve their mindset problems. They think once they have money, then they'll feel confident, then they'll build discipline, then they'll stop procrastinating, then they'll believe in themselves. But money doesn't fix mindset, it amplifies it. If you're careless without money, you'll be reckless with money. If you're unfocused without money, you'll be overwhelmed with money. If you lack direction without money, you'll be lost with money. Money magnifies who you already are. That's why mindset has to come first. Mindset is the internal architecture that allows you to hold success instead of dropping it. It's the difference between people who rise once and disappear and people who rise and stay there. Without the right mindset, you build nothing sustainable. You chase moments, trends, and quick wins. But with the right mindset, you build legacy, value, and systems that pay you long after the excitement fades. You stop thinking in days and start thinking in decades. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. A strong mindset does something else to it, eliminates excuses. Not because excuses disappear, but because you stop accepting them from yourself. You realize nobody's coming to hand you the life you want. Nobody's coming to save you. The world responds to the energy you bring into it. If you move with weakness, the world pushes you back. If you move with clarity and conviction, the world steps aside. Money doesn't create power. Mindset creates power, and power creates money. When mindset comes first, you start understanding the value of discomfort. You stop running from challenges and start walking into them. Because you know growth hides inside resistance. The people who win aren't the ones born lucky. They're the ones who decided their mindset wouldn't break, no matter how heavy life got. They trained their mind to move forward when others freeze. That training turns into habits, habits turn into actions, actions turn into results, and results turn into income. So if you want to change your financial life, start by changing the way you think about yourself, your potential, your time, your standards, and your future. Build the mindset that moves before it's motivated. Build the mindset that decides before it's ready. Build the mindset that treats every day as a brick in the foundation of a much bigger picture. When the mindset is right, the money follows, because you've finally become the person who can attract it. Hold it, grow it, and multiply it. Mindset precedes money. Own the first, and the second has no choice but to follow. There is a single law of transformation, and once you understand it, the entire game changes, life stops feeling random, success stops feeling lucky, progress stops feeling slow. This one law turns chaos into clarity, hesitation into movement, potential into power, and the law is simple. Nothing changes until you change. Not your circumstances, not your environment, not your relationships, not your opportunities. You. The external world rearranges itself the moment the internal world upgrades. People try to reverse it, hoping the outside will shift first. But transformation has only ever worked one way, inside out. Most people are waiting for a sign, waiting for a break, waiting for motivation to strike like lightning, but lightning doesn't strike people who are sitting still. Transformation belongs to the one who decides to shift their identity before the result arrives. When you become someone new internally, the external world eventually has to match that identity. That's the law. You are the cause. Your life is the effect. The problem is, people confuse desire with transformation. They think wanting change is enough. They talk about what they want, dream about it, pray for it, visualize it, but desire without identity. Change is just emotional entertainment. Nothing happens, nothing moves. You cannot want your way into a new life. You must be your way into it. The law demands identity first, action second, result third. That order never flips. You transform the moment you stop thinking like the old version of you. The moment you quit operating from fear, from insecurity, from smallness, from excuses. Transformation begins when you draw a line between who you've been and who you will no longer be. That decision reshapes everything: your habits, your circle, your standards, your tolerance for mediocrity, your relationship with time, your relationship with yourself. You cannot step into a powerful life with a powerless mindset. You cannot step into abundance with scarcity running your thoughts. You cannot build a legacy while carrying the identity of someone who's still just trying to survive. The inside has to shift. The beauty of this law is that it's not emotional, it's structural. It doesn't care about your mood, it doesn't care about your past, it doesn't care about your mistakes. It only responds to who you choose to be right now. Transformation is activated the moment you change the way you think, speak, decide, and act. Not next year, not when things calm down, not when you feel ready. Right now, every breakthrough you've ever wanted sits on the other side of a version of you that you haven't committed to becoming yet. That's why people feel stuck. They want new outcomes while playing the same character in the story. They want the next level but refuse to retire the old identity. You cannot demand a higher floor while building on the same foundation. The law requires a rebuild. Transformation happens in the small, private moments where nobody claps for you. When you show discipline even when nobody would know if you slacked. When you make the harder choice instead of the easier one. When you speak to yourself with power instead of pity. When you stop repeating the same emotional patterns. When you stop negotiating with the standards you say you want to live by. Those micro shifts compound into a new version of you. And once the version changes, the life changes with it. People love the idea of transformation because it sounds grand, like a dramatic movie scene, but the truth is far simpler and far more demanding. Transformation is quiet, it's subtle, it's in the decisions you make when no one is watching, it's in the boundaries you draw, it's in the behaviors you stop allowing, it's in the accountability you stop running from. It's in the honesty you finally have with yourself about your habits, excuses, and patterns. That's the real work. That's the real shift, and that shift rewrites your entire trajectory. Some people think transformation takes a long time. But the moment you change your identity, truly change it, the timeline of your life accelerates, doors open faster, opportunities appear, ideas align, people respond differently, you stop sabotaging yourself. You stop hesitating, you start moving with conviction, and when conviction enters your life, momentum follows. Transformation isn't slow. People are slow to commit to it. Once you commit, the universe catches up quickly. This law favors the brave, the ones willing to evolve, the ones willing to outgrow their old story, because transformation is not about becoming someone else. It's about revealing the version of you that has always been buried under fear, doubt, and conditioning. You're not becoming new, you're becoming real, and when you honor that law, your life becomes a reflection of the power you've claimed within yourself. Everything rises to meet the new standard you embody. And that is transformation in its purest form. Every breakthrough in your life begins as a thought, a spark, an idea, a possibility, but thoughts alone won't change your bank account, your opportunities, or your future. The world doesn't pay you for what's in your mind. It pays you for what you bring into reality. The real power is in turning those thoughts into transactions, turning ideas into value, turning imagination into something people are willing to exchange their money, their time, and their trust for. That's the bridge most people never cross. They stay stuck in the land of thinking. While a small group steps into the land of doing, of building, and earning, everyone has ideas, everyone has dreams. But execution is the separator. You can think about a vision all day long, but until it leaves your head and shows up as something someone else can use, nothing moves. Thoughts are free. Thoughts are limitless. But transactions, those are earned, and the person who learns how to convert thought into value becomes unstoppable. The process is not complicated, but it demands discipline. First, you extract the idea from your mind and turn it into structure. You write it, sketch it, build the first draft, create the first version. You move it from imagination into existence. Most people stop here because the first version doesn't look impressive. It doesn't look perfect. But perfection has never created momentum. Action does. The world rewards the person who produces, not the person who waits for the perfect moment. Once your idea becomes something tangible, you refine it. You shape it into something valuable, something that solves a problem, saves time, removes pain, adds meaning, or makes life easier for someone else. Because people don't pay you for effort. They pay you for value. They pay you for results. They pay you for what your idea does for them, not what it means to you. The moment you understand this, your creativity becomes profitable. Turning thoughts into transactions demands courage. You must be willing to test your idea in the real world, knowing some people will doubt it, criticize it, or misunderstand it. But the ones who need it will recognize it instantly, and those are the people who create the transaction. You are not trying to convince the world. You are trying to reach the world that is already looking for what you can offer. Every business, every product, every invention, every movement began as a thought. Someone simply decided that the thought was worthy of action, worthy of development, worthy of risk. They didn't treat their idea like a fantasy. They treated it like a responsibility, and responsibility turns vision into reality faster than desire ever will. The moment you bring your idea to the marketplace, even in its simplest form, you start a cycle. You build, you deliver, you learn, you improve, you scale, you repeat. Each cycle makes your offering stronger. Each improvement makes the value clearer, and with value comes trust. With trust comes demand. With demand comes income. That's how thoughts become transactions, through relentless refinement and unapologetic action. You have to stop believing that your idea needs approval before it becomes real. It needs execution, not permission. The world doesn't reward hidden potential. It rewards visible value. You can stay in your head for years, imagining what could be, or you can step into the arena and start influencing what will be. If you want to turn your thoughts into income, start by identifying what you can offer today, not someday. What skill can you package? What perspective can you teach? What service can you provide? What solution can you build? Every single person has something that can be monetized, but most never monetize it because they stay stuck in thinking rather than doing. Once you identify your offer, you build your system. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to exist. A page, a product, a process, a service, something people can say yes to, something they can pay for. Something that turns your internal world into an external opportunity, and as you grow, your confidence grows, not because you suddenly believe in yourself, but because you proved yourself right through action. Confidence isn't a thought. Confidence is evidence, and evidence comes from execution. When you live in this cycle, idea, action, value, transaction, you build momentum. Momentum becomes mastery. Mastery becomes magnetism. And magnetism brings money. People pay for clarity, results, and solutions, and those come from the discipline of turning thoughts into something real. At the end of the day, the world doesn't remember thinkers. It remembers builders, the ones who took what was invisible and made it undeniable, the ones who took a thought and turned it into a transaction that changed their life and the lives of others. Your thoughts are the blueprint. Your actions are the construction. The transaction is the reward. Start building legacy over moment means you refuse to live like your decisions die today. It means you stop chasing the high of temporary wins and start building the foundation of something that outlives your emotions, your moods, your seasons, even your setbacks. Most people are addicted to the moment, quick excitement, quick validation, quick rewards. They want the applause now, the comfort now, the shortcut now. But what they don't see is that every time they choose the moment, they sacrifice the future. Legacy players think differently. They operate on a longer timeline, a deeper purpose, a higher standard. They're not seduced by what feels good now, they're committed to what will matter later. Legacy thinking requires maturity. It forces you to zoom out. It forces you to ask, will this decision serve my future or sabotage it? Because everything you do is either building your name or breaking it. Every habit is either setting you up or shutting you down. Every mindset is either expanding your capacity or shrinking your potential. Choosing legacy over moment is not soft, it's surgical. It cuts away your excuses, your distractions, your emotional impulses. It demands you act from discipline, not desire. When you chase the moment, you think like a consumer. When you build legacy, you think like a creator. Consumers react to life. Creators design life. Consumers take what they can get. Creators build what they want. Consumers need the world to give them something. Creators give something to the world. Legacy thinkers don't sit around waiting for perfect timing, perfect conditions, or perfect confidence. They begin now because tomorrow's legacy is built by today's decisions. Legacy thinking changes the way you move. You stop wasting your energy on people who drain you and places that distract you. You stop explaining your vision to minds that can't see past the moment. You stop letting fear make decisions for you. You stop putting your life on hold because someone else doesn't understand it. People chasing moments want to be understood. People building legacy want to be effective. Legacy over moment is choosing the long game every single day, even when nobody notices. It's waking up early to work on your craft long before anyone knows your name. It's choosing growth over comfort, responsibility over excuses, long-term positioning over short-term pleasure. It's resisting the distraction that says, take it easy today, and answering with, my future deserves better than my comfort. Most people never rise because they build their choices around how they feel. Feelings are unstable, they shift every hour. You cannot build anything lasting on emotional sand. Legacy demands consistency, and consistency is born from commitment, not convenience. The moment might feel good, but legacy feels right. And the difference between good and right is the difference between temporary and timeless. There's a reason only a few people build something worth remembering. They are the ones willing to sacrifice the moment. While others are scrolling, they're learning. While others are resting on yesterday's effort, they're building the next layer. While others seek approval, they seek mastery. They know the world rewards the person who invests in growth, not the one who chases distractions. Legacy thinkers also understand this truth. Every small act compounds. The world sees the final result, but legacy is built in the invisible. The nights you kept going, the days you showed up tired, the moments you refused to quit. The conversations you didn't have because you were focused, the invitations you declined because you were protecting your time, the sacrifices nobody clapped for, that's the stuff legacy is made of. Unseen, uncelebrated, but undeniable. And when the results finally show, people call it luck. They don't see the years of disciplined decisions stacked on top of each other. They don't see the moments you chose the long-term vision over short-term pleasure. Legacy thinkers are comfortable with that. They don't need credit. They need progress. They don't need attention. They need alignment. They don't need the spotlight. They need the mission. Legacy over moment is also about responsibility. It's understanding that your choices don't just impact you. They impact the future version of you. They impact the people who will depend on you. They impact your reputation, your opportunities, your income, your influence. Legacy thinkers know that today's discipline becomes tomorrow's freedom. Today's investment becomes tomorrow's stability. Today's sacrifice becomes tomorrow's generational advantage. So ask yourself, are you living for the moment, or are you building for the legacy? Are you chasing the quick hit, the quick fix, the quick escape? Or are you constructing something that will matter in a year, 5 years, 10 years? The moment will tempt you, distract you, pull at you. It will offer comfort, but legacy offers fulfillment. Legacy offers meaning. Legacy offers a future where your name carries weight, your work carries impact, and your life carries purpose. Choose legacy over moment. Because moments fade, legacy's echo-execution discipline is the separator between people who talk about what they want and people who actually get what they want. It's the force that turns intention into impact, ideas into results, and goals into reality. Everyone loves to think big, dream big, plan big. but only a small percentage follow through with the kind of relentless action that makes success unavoidable. Execution discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't happen in front of crowds. It's forged in quiet moments where you choose responsibility over excuses, action over hesitation, and progress over comfort. That's where your future is built, in the small, consistent decisions that nobody celebrates but everyone eventually sees. Execution discipline means you do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. Motivation is optional, discipline is mandatory. Anyone can work when they're excited. Anyone can move when energy is high. But the winners, the ones who rise, the ones who dominate, the ones who build a life worth remembering, are the ones who execute even when everything in them wants to quit. They show up tired, they show up unsure. They show up imperfect, but they show up, and that alone separates them from the masses. People love to say, "I'll start when I'm ready," but readiness is a myth. You don't wait for readiness. You build it through action. Execution discipline is understanding that clarity comes from movement, not thinking. You don't need to know the entire path to take the next step. You don't need the perfect plan to begin the imperfect action. You just need the commitment to move. Progress rewards movement. Stagnation punishes hesitation. The truth is, discipline isn't about being strict, it's about being aligned. It's about knowing exactly what you want and then shaping your behavior around that vision. It's not punishment, it's devotion. It's choosing long-term gain over short-term comfort. It's saying no to distractions so you can say yes to destiny. Every time you execute with discipline, you cast a vote for the future you want. Every time you skip, avoid, or delay, you cast a vote for the future you fear. Execution discipline is also about standards. Standards that don't bend under stress. Standards that don't crumble under pressure. Standards that don't negotiate with excuses. People with weak standards break commitments whenever emotions shift. People with strong standards keep commitments because their word to themselves means more than any temporary feeling. When your standards rise, your results rise with them, but here's the secret. Execution discipline isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. Anyone can go hard for a week. Anyone can grind for a moment. But the person who wins is the one who builds a rhythm, a daily non-negotiable rhythm, that pushes their life forward no matter what. Consistency compounds. What you do daily shapes what you become permanently. A little done every day beats a lot done occasionally. Another truth about execution discipline is this: you're not fighting laziness, you're fighting comfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort wants you predictable, passive, controlled. Discipline wants you powerful. Comfort whispers later. Discipline commands now. Comfort wants you entertained. Discipline wants you elevated. The life you want requires the version of you who chooses discipline over comfort repeatedly until it becomes automatic. Execution discipline also exposes your weaknesses, but that's exactly why it transforms you. When you do hard things consistently, you discover every limit you've been living under. You see where you procrastinate, where you lie to yourself, where you hide, where you collapse. But once you see those weaknesses, you can fix them. You can replace them with stronger habits, stronger patterns, stronger beliefs. Discipline becomes the sculptor of your character. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack follow-through. They start strong and finish nowhere. They have potential but no persistence. They have ambition but no structure. Execution discipline is the bridge between ambition and achievement. It's the reminder that success rewards the reliable, not just the gifted. Execution discipline means doing the work even when progress feels invisible, because real growth rarely shows up immediately. It accumulates quietly. Every rep, every hour, every attempt stacks like bricks. One day the structure is small, the next day it's still small, but one day you look up, and the foundation is unshakable. That's how greatness is built, silently, steadily, relentlessly. And here's the final truth: discipline creates freedom. When you execute consistently, you build skills, confidence, and opportunities. You stop fearing the future because you're actively shaping it. You stop doubting yourself because evidence replaces insecurity. You stop depending on luck because your work becomes your leverage. Freedom isn't given, it's earned through disciplined action. Execution discipline is the gateway to every result you've ever wanted. It's the difference between a life you fantasize about and a life you actually live. Decide what matters, commit without negotiation, move without hesitation, and follow through without excuse. The future belongs to the one who executes. So here's what I want you to do when you walk away from this. Tonight, pick one idea you've been thinking about. Not 10, 1, then ask yourself, what can I build, deliver, and ask payment for by next week? Then do it, then rinse, refine, scale. Remember, thinking is the seed, value creation is the plant, cash is the harvest. The law is real, the legacy is yours. If you apply it, if you live it, you will turn your thoughts into something tangible. You will turn your potential into pay. You will turn your mind into money. That's the path. Go walk it. Let's get to work.